what's up? My name is Zach and I'm bringing you a new review today. Different background, but I still got reviews for you guys. This one is for the Harry Potter series. Now, I have done the first 3 movies. I got really busy. I finished them all. I watched 48 hours of Harry Potter straight. I want to talk about it now, and I don't think justifying just doing separate reviews would actually do it justified. This is just going to be one of those big, long videos where I talk about the Harry Potter universe, what I really liked, what I didn't like, what I think they could improve on for the next ones coming out with Newt, and what I really liked about the story. Now, there might be some spoilers, there might not be. Overall, there probably will be some, because the movies have come out. I feel like I'm probably the last person in the world to have seen all the Harry Potter movies. But that's why we're here. We're talking about Harry Potter, so let's get into this. Now, you guys can find my first 3 videos on my channel. Those are all my thoughts about them. So I'm going to start from number 4 and go all the way up. Now, 4, 5, 6, I really did like them all. 4 I really enjoyed. I think I've seen 4 quite a few times from when I was a child. 5 was the only one I actually only saw once. 6, 7, and part 2 of 7 were the only ones I have not seen. So, how does 4 hold up overall? I think the CGI actually looked great. The story was intense. You know, I didn't remember a lot of the things because it's been so long, and it really is gripping. Some of the imagery in there just sticks with you, especially when you see Voldemort, when he's finally brought back to life, and that whole scene is just so great. You see Cedric die, and it's fantastic. I love all the trials they have to go through, the underwater one, the dragon one, fantastic as hell. I love how Harry's having to figure it out, and the whole time I'm thinking, I was like, Harry's like 15 to 16 years old. He's like a little kid throughout all these movies, and he hits like, what, 17, 18 in the last one? For me, I'm just sitting there, I'm like, this kid has so much on his plate. He doesn't have college yet, he doesn't even have a job. This guy has to fight the world, and it's so funny to me, but it's really what makes this movie great and what the universe is great. The movie is, pretty much this whole universe is a lot of world building. There's so much to it. The spells, the creatures, the wizards, everyone's names, the school, the locations, it's all fantastical. It makes you just gripping into it. You know, I really do like Harry Potter, and I'm pissed at myself for not finishing this series sooner, or even watching them in the theaters. You know, Harry Potter is a very special universe, and I totally get why people were like, oh, where there's that arguments where Harry Potter's better than Star Wars, and Star Wars is better than Lord of the Rings, and all that argument, because those are 3 beloved properties, and I totally understand. Where if someone's like, I like Harry Potter more than Star Wars, I totally understand you. And for you guys that know, I love Star Wars, but Harry Potter really does rival that for me. I love Harry Potter from what I watched. How each wand is different, how each little detail into the world is so different, how each house elf, how each creature is different. And 4, 5, and 6, I think 5 is probably honestly the weakest out of them all. I don't know why, I just felt like it was. It was there to show what the Ministry was, how the Ministry didn't want to acknowledge what was going on, but it was going on. And I thought 5, towards the end it did pick up and it hit hard at its climax. But 6 is one of the special ones. And I go back and forth on what my favorite ones are between, which I'll get to those in a second. But for me, 6 is in there. I think the story, and no, a lot of people could say that's a lot of exposition, but for me, it was a lot of story. It was a lot of background information. It made me care about more characters than I thought I would. And the second, because for me, Snape, you see, is this anti-hero, in a sense, for me. And you see him, you see what he's doing, and it all culminates towards the end of the series, at the part 2 where you see what happens to Snape when he does kill Dumbledore. And when he kills Dumbledore, that scene is emotionally heartbreaking. And, you know, he kind of spared Draco from killing him, and it's very different for me to see that. You know, you don't see that happening, and I didn't read the books up till 6, so I didn't know that was going to happen, and that was heartbreaking to see how Dumbledore died, but Dumbledore gave it. And then you see how that ties into the last movie, how Snape was told that Dumbledore was dying. He told him to save Draco from turning full evil, to just kill him. And I loved it. I loved every little bit of detail that swiveled around it, and how it all connected and weaved in towards the end of the finale, and how 6 was. If you skip 6 and just go straight to 7, yes, you can pick up on what had happened, but overall, it wouldn't matter as much, because you wouldn't care about Voldemort. You wouldn't get where Tom Riddle was and who he turned into. It was fantastic how, and you can just tell that from J.K. Rowling's books, that she had weaved that in and told him what to do for the movie. Fantastic as hell. Now, going into part 1, I'm not a big fan of when books, they're like, oh, it's a big popular series, let's split it down the middle. From what I could tell, though, is that they did film both movies, and they're like, okay, we need to split them. I don't know if it was for money, I don't know if it was because of the length. Now, watching part 1, it is slow. It does have to be there, though, for you to love the series, but part 1 for me was very weak in what it was. Yes, it's a lot of character building. It's a lot of just Harry, Hermione, and Ron running around the woods, and that was kind of annoying to me. Like, why? Why do we just keep going into the woods? It's very cool to see the spells and what they have to find, but I didn't like it, and it was very annoying to me. And perhaps my friend was watching me, and he was like, this is the weakest one. He even thought that they should just put them together. And for me, maybe they shouldn't have. I don't really know. But I do think there could have been stuff that trimmed out of the part 1. But what I will say, part 1 ended fantastic. The second that climax hit, bang, pow, it was fantastic. I can't even get enough of it. And the way it ends, honestly, for me, was more heartbreaking than Dumbledore dying. When Dobby dies, you can kill Dumbledore. But the second you kill Dobby, that shit, excuse my language, but that shit is fucked up. You do not kill Dobby. And the way he dies is just, you see him just sitting there, and you see he's just wobbling over it after he saved him and just dies. It's so heartbreaking. He gave his life for Harry Potter. And I was just like, oh, that was heartbreaking. That's why you needed part 1, to show and to escalate Dobby dying. And then after that, I was actually going to wait till the next day to watch part 2, but I went home, I went upstairs, went to my room, and I was like, I need to finish this movie. I put on part 2, I watched that, and I was intrigued, I was interested the whole time. The battles were amazing, especially that when they're defending the castle, Hogwarts Castle. That was fantastic, and you totally see the motivation between Harry after seeing Dumbledore die, after seeing Dobby die, especially Dobby, and you start hearing people dying. There was some things where I was kind of pissed that One-Eyed Moody, he just died off screen. Why? I wanted to see him die. He was one of my favorite teachers at the school. They should have shown him more of it. So for me, that was kind of just, why? Why'd you show him die? It was very disappointing to me. I wish I would have seen that, but some of the other people dying in this are being injured. You know, Ron's brother, the twins, one of them dying, that was heartbreaking. I think that could have been built up a little better. I think it just happened, and then it kind of just went into the next scene. I think that was a little different. I kind of heard about that happening from the books, so I'm wondering how that happened in the books. I wonder if it was the same. But still, I'm talking about Dobby dying, and I'm still thinking about Dobby dying, because Dobby dying was very depressing to me, and it was very just sad. I didn't like that. But it set up and it made me like kill Dumbledore, or kill Voldemort, kill them all, just get rid of everyone that's bad, all the Death Eaters. I got so into part 2, and part 2, honestly, like I said, going into what my favorite ones are, 3, 6, and 7 part 2 are my favorite ones. I mix between them. I think part 2 and 6 are probably my favorite ones now. I really, really just liked them. And I actually watched part 2 a second time because I was just so intrigued with it. It was one of the best finales that I've ever seen for a movie, for it to end that way. I absolutely adored it. I loved every second of it. And Snape's death was also heartbreaking, when you just find out everything right then and there. That, like I said, going back to 6 and going to now, it makes you care. And it makes you say, I love you, Snape. And Snape, Alan Rickman, rest in peace. You were one of the best actors out there. When Snape died, it was heartbreaking, and I can't believe that. You know, it was rivals Dobby for me. You know, Dumbledore, old man, I like him, but Dobby and Snape, you just hated Snape, but the second you find out, you're like, I love you too. It's a love-hate relationship with you. Draco's the only one I fucking hate. I hate Draco. Yes, this is a little bit of a rant. Yes, because I hate Draco. I hate Umbridge. Fuck her too. She's a bitch. But going back to Harry Potter, going back to part 2, that last battle with Harry and Voldemort, when Voldemort just snaps him and kills him, and everyone thinks he's killing, and he starts carrying, Hagrid starts carrying him. Also, love Hagrid. One of my favorite characters. Starts carrying him, and you see everyone in the school school's pretty much destroyed, and then all of a sudden you see Harry just jump up alive, snaps at Voldemort, and just runs off. They get the sword. It just ends so fantastic. I love how it ends with him and Ginny. I love how Ron and Hermione's little kiss when they're trying to get the last Horcrux, and they finally get it, and then they kiss, and they're like, oh yeah, like it's like finally that happened. It was such a great moment for it to just snap right there and finally happen. Guys, if you can't tell, I'm really obsessed with Harry Potter now. I want to read the books. I'm excited. I want to go read Cursed Child too. I'm excited for Newt's adventure too, to bring us back into that universe. And I felt satisfied at the ending. I felt like it left me wanting more. It left me wanting to see where Harry's child goes. And left me wanting to see that into a movie format. I hope they do that. But if you guys do know me now, I am obsessed with Harry Potter. I am so hooked into Harry Potter because Harry Potter really is. The whole series overall, some movies are not as good as others, and I might change my reviews on some. But overall, every Harry Potter movie is fantastic. I think it all just led up to one of the best endings that I've ever seen for a series. And I really have to say that if I'm going to grade the whole series overall, even if there were some weak chapters, every story has a weak chapter. But this is an 8-part series of a film collection to watch from start to finish. And ignoring and understanding the weakest chapters and understanding, but those chapters do tie back into part 2. And after seeing that, I even have to bump those up more because it was weaved in so greatly, especially after switching some directors. And David Yates does a fantastic job directing his last few. The imagery, the spells, the CGI all holds up. Voldemort is menacing. His snake is menacing. It's all so fantastic. And if I were to grade the whole series overall, I'd have to give it an A. It is one of the best universes I've ever experienced and one of the best times I've ever finished. I was so hooked watching each and every movie, and I just wanted to get to that ending and see how it ended. And when I watched it the second time, it held up. I loved part 2. Part 2 and 6 are one of my favorite ones now. And really, I cannot express enough how much Harry Potter now means to me and how much I can understand when someone says, I love Harry Potter, and how Harry Potter is a big part of your childhood. I feel pissed that I didn't get it in my childhood. I got Star Wars, and that's not a bad trade either. But I wish Harry Potter was something I would have gone out and seen more and would have pushed to see more. My kids, I'm going to push to make them read the books and watch the movies because Harry Potter really is an A. Other than that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Some little rants, some little things about Dobby and Snape dying and me getting pissed at Umbridge and Draco and just being annoyed. But that is my review of the Harry Potter collection. I hope you guys did enjoy this. This is longer than my other videos. I'm sorry, but I had to get this all out. This is my Harry Potter review, and I hope you guys did enjoy this. Look out for more reviews soon. Have a great rest of your guys' day.